Today in our Law A to Z series, we will discuss all you need to know about immigration law and your rights. We welcome back our attorney and legal correspondent, David Lesch, to the show. And when you talk about we can stay here for a long minute because immigration is the talk of the town, the talk of the nation.
It's the hot topic, and we're talking about really the Immigration Reform Act, which is an act that, the Immigration Reform Bill. It's not yet an act. It's proposed in the Senate by what's called the Gang of Eight senators. It's bipartisan legislation. The problem is the House isn't on board yet, but at least the Senate has a plan. And I'm going to read to you the introduction of the bill by the 8 senators. It says, we recognize that our immigration system is broken, and while border security has improved significantly over the last 2 administrations, we still don't have a functioning immigration system. This has created a situation where up to 11 million undocumented immigrants are living in the shadows. So what do they propose, the Gang of Eight? Well, there are 4 pillars to this particular legislation. The first one has to do with really continuing to secure our borders with either aerial patrols, a better system where we know who's coming and going. If people are overstaying their visas, it's very important that we know what's going on at the borders themselves. We've done a fairly good job of policing the borders in the last couple of years. We have to improve that system. The same part of that first pillar involves the 11 million illegal immigrants who are here right now. First thing they're going to have to do is they have to say to the United States, we're here. Okay, here, this is my name. All right? There'll be a background check. They'll have to, if they have any criminal history, they may be deported. They'll have to pay any back fines, any back taxes. Once that's done, they go to the back of the line. You're looking at anywhere between 10 to 15 years for where they can actually move to the point where they will be able to get a green card. Once they get to the back of the line, it starts all over again. Again, they will have to pay any back taxes they have to pay. Their previous employers will be contacted to see what their employment history is, and slowly they will move up the chain. Now, of course, there will be exceptions for any children who were not necessarily born in this country but have been here for a significant amount of time. And there looks like there will also be some type of exceptions for any workers who have been in the agricultural field, because they really have been doing a great service for our country in an area where a lot of Americans don't want those jobs. So I think those particular immigrants will be moved a little faster.
Let me get this right. Legal challenges just on that point alone.
Yes.
Many?
Well, of course, because what you're talking about is you're granting 11 million people the right to become citizens. A lot of people feel, well, they haven't been here, they haven't been paying taxes, they haven't been paying their fines. Why are we giving them the right to do this? Well, other people say, hey, it's almost like getting a driver's license. You get a ticket, you have a couple of points on your license, you work off your points. You take a class, you do what you need to do so yet your license is valid again. There's really not much of a difference. So we shouldn't be punishing those people. So that first pillar could be debated for 5 shows.
Right.
Okay. The second pillar has to do with the best and the brightest. We want the best and the brightest from other countries to come here, and they haven't been coming here because our immigration system is broken. Why come here if they're going to be put to the back of the line, if they know it takes years and years just to get their paperwork through, or they may just come here illegally? We need to attract talent. That's very, very important. So we have to clean up the immigration system so that we know people from the other countries are going to come here and they're going to be rewarded, especially if they have PhDs or master's degrees and they're from United States universities and colleges. We're going to push them along quicker. We're going to get them faster to become United States citizens. We want the talent. We need the talent. Very, very important. That's the second pillar. The third pillar has to do with the employers themselves. Many employers have been hiring undocumented aliens knowingly, and they should be punished, and we have to find out who they are, and we have to make the fines much stricter. The problem is a lot of the employers say, hey, this person came to me with a social security card and an identity. I didn't know it wasn't their identity. I didn't know it was a fake social security card. You have to help me. You can't find me. You have to help me. So we're going to put practices into effect that are going to help the employers figure out who is legal and who is not legal. Better system looking at their identity to figure out whether that person coming to them is truly documented.
The big question is, if this is enacted, we're still talking about things that are going to take 20 to 25 years to really get correct.
Well, it's at least a plan. You know, our country is finally ready to acknowledge that something has to be done. I mean, this particular bill is a bipartisan effort. There are 8 senators, 4 Republicans, and 4 Democrats. When was the last time you saw 4 and 4 agreeing on one particular issue?
Gun control?
Well, maybe gun control, but you know what? That didn't even pass.
Right.
So the Firearms Act, that didn't even pass. But this is only going to make it through the Senate. It still has to be debated in the House. And remember, the House wants to cut it into pieces. Maybe take one pillar, not take another pillar. And the last final pillar, by the way, the 4th pillar, has to do with making sure that jobs are available for the people who are undocumented. You know, as the economy is growing, we need positions to be filled. Of course, always in the agricultural field. We need people to take those positions. Of course, we have to make sure that Americans who want those jobs are offered those jobs. Mm-hmm. But if the Americans don't want the jobs, the Americans who are here, the citizens that are here, that we have to offer those jobs to the illegal aliens, because we need those positions filled. We have to identify what jobs we need those positions filled, and then we have to reach out to the illegal aliens, say, we need you in there. Now, of course, there are always going to be people who feel that they're taking jobs away from those on the lower rung of the spectrum. But the argument against that is like, look, they're undercutting you, okay, the illegal aliens, because they're working for monies that are so low, you can't afford to work for those monies. But if we find out who they are and we make them legal, they will have to work for at least minimum wage. Not half of minimum wage, minimum wage. Right. And you will be able to compete with them. So it really will help you when they come out of the shadows. You know, I've read articles about individuals who say that, you know, they can't get jobs because, you know, the illegal immigrants are working in the back of kitchens, and now everybody in the kitchen speaks Spanish. They don't speak Spanish, so they're not hired. And because why should they be hired in the kitchen when all the employees are only speaking Spanish? Right. So they say, well, that's not fair to me. Well, that's true. It's not. So we have to identify what jobs are available and make sure that the American citizens are offered certain jobs. But if you don't want to work in that position, then that's different. Right.
Do we see any real action on this coming close?
There will be action. There's going to be a vote on it very, very soon. It's up for debate. The American society is ready for a change, and it's time. I don't know how many of those 4 pillars are going to still stand by the time this passes, but it will pass. Mm-hmm. You might only have a couple pillars that pass. Mm-hmm. It's certainly, maybe if they go to the back of the line, there'll be some additional tests that have to be fulfilled. Maybe, they have to wait an additional year or 2 before they even get to the back of the line. So there are going to be pillars that are going to be undercut. But I guarantee you that a form of this immigration reform bill is going to be passed, probably within the next 3 to 6 months. And it's going to be a major piece of legislation and a major win for the White House.
As a person that's ground friendly in the Bronx County Courthouse, how often are we seeing immigration cases come before court?
Well, you know what? The way I see it many times is, when I'm picking juries, I see, the jurors themselves, a lot of times, are not documented, and and then all of a sudden, they get letters in the mail because they vote, they want to vote, and they're on different voting. And then they show up. They don't speak English, and then they're excused. But within the courthouse itself, there are many different petitions that are being filed to try and get people through. Most of the petitions are in the federal courthouse, obviously, because you're talking about it's a federal to become a citizen. You got to apply for federal actions. But I see the way the dealings that I have. I don't practice immigration law, but the dealings that I have are with the jurors. Who have come here and still have not learned English, and that's a problem because we want them to be able to sit and hear cases. But this is we could talk about this immigration reform bill for the next 3 months because it's going to constantly be debated. It will be maybe not the first thing on the news; it'll be the second or the third thing on the news. So, we'll move on to the letter J. But unfortunately, the immigration topic will be around for a long time.
And when we've done immigration shows here, we've opened up the phone lines and we've had to shut people off. Literally hundreds of people on the phone.
And there are attorneys, unfortunately, who are taking advantage of a lot of people. they take their money, they lose their documentation, and if you don't get it right the first time and you put papers in, it's not like you get a do-over. You got to make sure your papers are in there and they're in there correctly. I know that from my family members, my mother who practices in immigration law. If you don't get that stuff in there the first time right, you go to the back, to the back, to the back of the line. So you got to make sure.
Maybe we bring you back and you discuss that and let some people know
bring
exactly
her back.
Right. Whoever. Yeah, be good. Coming up on today's verdict, let's talk about that.
But today's verdict, we've been doing a lot of shows on gun control. We've been doing shows on a little lighter stuff. We have an attorney who created a whole chessboard on different areas of the law, which I think is fun. He's coming in. A few authors that are coming in. A lot of good stuff coming in. Tuesday night, 6:30.
All righty. David Lesch, good to have you.
Nice to be here.
All right, as always, you can catch David Lesch on today's verdict, as he said, Tuesday nights, 6:30, right here on Bronx Nets Channel 67.